Welcome back to Work Hard RC. Today, Traxxas officially announced the release of the Ford RS200. Now, I did get the opportunity to see this in person at NERSA a few weeks ago. When I first saw it, I was just overwhelmed with enjoyment because it was a really cool looking rally car. I've always been a fan of the style of the RS200. I've always been a fan of the older model Cilicas from Toyota. So that whole rally scene between the Subarus, Fords, and Toyotas I've always loved. So when I saw that and I saw the size of it, I thought it was really cool. Asking a few other questions, I got to learn a little more about it. We'll go over what I heard and we'll go over the specs that they released and the release date here. So let's get into it. All right, so before I go too far into the specs, I actually have an RS200 right here. Actually, it's not. This is the Mini Slash, but essentially it's very similar in size, and the wheels also are shared as far as the functionality. They don't have foam. They have the ribbed technology inside of there. So this guy is really dirty. If you guys see my last video of the Mini Slash, you'll know why it's so dirty. We took this out to the Nevada dry salt lake bed out at the outskirts of Las Vegas. So this is about the size that the RS200 is. Now the difference is essentially, so that you guys you don't go too far in the video and not know what's going on here, is essentially about the same size as the Mini Slash is the RS200. And again, this guy's dirty because he had the same trail out at the desert. All the internals from like the XRT Mini are essentially put into this guy. So all of the 3S capabilities you'll enjoy from the XRT Mini are going to be inside of this new RS200, which is going to make it really, really fun. Again, if you guys watch my video of this particular model, you guys know that it is a blast. It's not too fast, but with the 3S system in the new RS200, it's going to be ridiculous. So let's go ahead and get into the specs. All right, so the Mini Rally VXL Ford RS200. Now, I did get a chance to look at this in person while I was at NERSA a few weeks ago, and this was all behind closed doors and something that was shown to us that we couldn't speak about after we left that room. So it was really cool seeing it. When I first saw it on the table, my first thought when I saw it in the lights, I first knew it was a rally car, and then I thought Celica, and I was like, wait, that's not a Celica, that's a Ford. Obviously, it's licensed, and Traxxas does a lot of the licensing with Ford already, so that was really nice to see the fact that they had a really, really nice-looking RS200, and the scale when I first thought, and my first instinct was that it's about the size of a Mini Slash. That's why in the beginning of the video I brought that up. So I'm going to do some comparisons on the Mini Slash and this because they are very closely related, similarly to the Mini Max and the XRT. You can kind of see the relationship between those two. One is a 2S system, one is a 3S system. Pretty much it's very similar in the case of this chassis and what they did with it for the RS200. So just keep that in mind as you're shopping or if you're looking for information. Just know that if you don't already own the Mini Slash and you're looking to get something a little bit better, I would say pick one of these up. It's going to be out October 31st, and you guys can pick that up from your local stores. One thing I have to give a shout out to Traxxas for, among a lot of things, is that they do really support their store. So if you guys have a local store that is a Traxxas dealer, I do highly recommend getting one of those. You get the first chance to get one of those on Halloween. So very nice that they do that for all of their stores, and they really take care of their dealers. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, you can pre-order it, and it'll ship mid-November on the 14th. So very nice that they do that. I do appreciate it. Now, taking a look at it here, we do know already that it's a 3S system. Obviously, you can run 2S. But you do get that VXL system at a top speed of 55 miles an hour. It only comes in one color, so you see the white and the blue there. And looking at it from the side, you see all of the markings on there with the lights. Now, I don't believe that it's going to come with lights. I imagine it's going to be a light kit. Now, in the video, you did see that the lights did turn on, so it's going to look very nice with those lights on there. But the price point is $429.95. Now, I know some of you folks who watch videos about Traxxas, who love Traxxas or don't like Traxxas, they're going to compare that to a Mini Slash and be like, whoa, the Mini Slash is only $289.95. Keep in mind of all the things you're getting with this, and I'll go over some more of those here in a little bit, but the VXL system, the 3S system, and then you also get a better servo, so we're going to go through that here. But just keep in mind those upgrades you're going to be getting for the price point. And then also in this environment that we currently live in, Traxxas has done a good job as far as not really instilling the prices or the up cost of the tariffs that they're having to deal with. So I know folks saying, oh, they have these warehouses and all this stuff that comes along. But when you think about it from a business perspective, which I do on the most part, they're impacted, but they haven't really passed it along too much. So now that they are, just know they've been holding off as long as they can. That price point at $429.95 also gives you all those upgrades you'll be getting with the VXL 3S system. So keep that in mind as you go along shopping. If you don't already have a Mini Slash and you want something with a little more power, this is the one for you. So one thing to note, I don't have a side-by-side comparison, but I do know for a fact that, let me just double check the numbers here, that the specs on the Mini Slash and this is about a full inch longer in the wheelbase than the Mini Slash, and almost a full inch wider than the Mini Slash. There's a lot more stability. Now with that 3S system, it's gonna be a lot faster. If you did watch my Mini Slash video, see that I did just a full send on that with my finger on the throttle the entire time, and I was taking turns. A couple times I lost traction, I started spinning out. But on the most part, that 2S system was controllable. Now with a 3S system, I probably have more issues of keeping it in control, but you do have a wider stance and a longer wheelbase in this system, so it should make for a much better drive in 3S and even better in 2S. Now, with the added power, you do get the 2075X servo, so you get a full Metal Gear servo, which is a nice touch when you're driving this on the dirt or you're taking it in through jumps and you're trying to land and steer correctly. So that's a nice upgrade there. And here we see the 3500 Velineon motor, and again, this is a brushless motor. So very nice there, and you do get the ESC, it's the VXL 3S system. So we all know and love that system, and that's capable of handling 3S. So very, very nice there. We do see some of the gearing here from the Mini Rally VXL. Get some better pictures of the ESC, the brushless power. We do get a picture of the real RS300. Very nice. I do like the cars of that era. I've always been a fan of the Fords. Again, I've been a fan of the rally cars. I owned a couple Subarus. I owned a 2002 Bug-Eye and a 2005 Blob-Eye STI. I used to own a Silica. I never owned an RS200. But I do like the body style, very reminiscent of the older models that I do appreciate and love, again, from that era. So very nice. If you guys are a fan of the RS200, you guys definitely can get those. As you scroll down, we see that it does have the same foamless tires that we see on the Mini Slash. So that's nice there because you really get the stability, and the traction is pretty even and level no matter what speed you're going. It's not really going to change too much because of those ribs in there. So you do have the clipless mounting system, and of course it is licensed by Ford, so also a nice touch from there. But again, when this comes out, I did have a lot of fun out at the dry lake bed with my Traxxas vehicles. Again, I took the Mini XRT and the Mini Slash out, and I hope to make it back there again and take this RS200 out because I got some great footage there. And having so much room out there, you really get a chance to open it up, which I'd really love to do here. Now, getting it dirty and having to clean it, that's one thing, but this thing looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I do like the Hella Horn lights on there, or the Hella lights. I call them Hella Horns because I used to have Hella Horns on my STI, so the Hella lights. Very nice there. Now it does come with a battery and a charger. It's going to be in the 2S, but you can also, if you don't already have a 3S, you can upgrade to a 3S and run that 3S and there's no problem. So here we can see a little bit more of the drivetrain. We do see some of the blue accents in the bumpers here. And I do like that these bumpers look a little bit more stable, a little more rigid than the ones on the Mini Max. The ones on the Mini Max, not to say they're not durable, because I did wreck that thing pretty hard, but it looks like it'll probably keep everything nice and concise and safe in there. You do have the shocks. They look to be, let me just click on one of these shocks here, or the suspension arms here, so we have those. Let me see if I can click on something with the shocks. So they are the heavy-duty components in here, and 1/10 scale Ultra shocks. So the shocks, I want to say, are a little bit longer than the ones in the Mini Max. I got to double check. I could be wrong on that. I'll do some more research on that and get back to you guys. But very, very nicely done, in my opinion. because of the fact I'm a fan of the rally cars. And then also having that 2075X servo. I've only burned out one servo, or at least I think I burned it out with my Jado, and I installed a I'm going to be installing a 2075X. I've been taking that thing out recently and having a lot of fun with it, as I haven't put it on video. But with that 2075X in this car with all the extra speed, and again, being a rally-themed car, you're going to be probably driving it in the dirt where it's a lot of loose gravel. You do want to have a nice servo because you're going to be oversteering and overcorrecting a lot with this car. And it is all-wheel drive, so very nice there. But I just wanted to give you guys an update on the new release. I am excited about it. And again, I did see this in person. When I first saw it, I was very impressed that they had a rally car in the size of the minis. One thing I've talked about in videos past is that the minis, whether it be like the small crawlers or these mini themed rally cars or the XRT or the Mini Max, is they're not too big where you can't take them comfortably on a trip. I was on a trip with a family in Vegas, and I told my wife about the dry lake bed, and she wanted to go. So we went on our van, we took the kids out there, we had a little blanket set up, they had a lot of fun, and then we took our cars and let them rip out there. So that's one nice thing about these minis, is that you can take them anywhere, and having one that's as fun to drive as the Mini Slash, and I'm sure this is going to be even more fun to drive, you can take it pretty much anywhere. So price point, I think, is right spot on for what you get out of it, and then it looks beautiful. One thing I have to note, I've been noticing with some of the Traxxas vehicles, is the Lexan body in the Mini Slash was a little bit thinner than I feel in other models, and the same can be said with the Pathfinder. Now, I know working with Kydex in the past and plastic and Theraform, now when I do vacuum forming, as you go along the sides, it does get pulled more and you get thinner walls. But seeing this one and feeling it a little bit, it does feel pretty thick. It's not a hard body, but I do know the Lexan seems to be a little bit more dense. That could be maybe because it's small and the walls are so small, so it really didn't stretch too much. But I can say that it does seem a little more dense than the other Lexan and the other more new models. So I don't know if that makes a difference to you or not, but for me it does, just because I know I tend to bash these pretty hard, and the more recent ones have been taking a little more damage a little bit faster than I'm used to. But anyways, great release. I'm excited to get my hands on one. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick rundown of the Ford RS200 by Traxxas. If you guys can, please subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys next time.